Good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. How are you doing? What's going on, everybody? Doing good. New week, Tuesday. Took a little short vacation, running late. Couldn't find my keys this morning. Just a little discombobulated as I get back into the swing of things. But God is good, and had a great time, little unplugging, so we can remain centered in this crazy, crazy time that we're in. Right. Hope you're doing okay. We always ask if you're doing all right, how your family and them, everybody good. This pandemic stuff, man, is getting more perplexing by the day. Wore my mask all day, all weekend long. Was around a lot of people, but wore my mask. I hope you're wearing your mask. Got my vaccinations. I hope you get yours. I'm not mad at you if you're a little hesitant, but at the same time, I guess it's now really time to seriously consider getting it. I too was among those that was extremely hesitant. And actually, when we ended up getting them, it was on kind of a whim, driving by the vaccination place and saying, you know what, we better go ahead and get it. Got online on the phone in the car, made the appointment, and then made a right and was up there getting the vaccination, 2 doses. A lot to think about in that, but it's now all about being safe. And I admit, we don't know what to think. One minute we're doing good, the next minute we don't know. It's just a lot going on in our world, right? Well, music is always a good healer, isn't it? So that's what today we're going to focus our coffee conversation on, on music, on jazz, right? Jazz art form. I'm all about the arts, and we want to try to talk about jazz music. We would normally be up to our eyeballs in jazz festivals around here in Southern California. And I guess we're kind of getting back to it slowly but surely. I see y'all posted your pictures going over there, the Hollywood Bowl, Dave Cause and Friends, Tower of Power, all of that. And I know a few other festivals are going to make a attempt to get back. Some still just going to tough it out until 2022, but we miss our festivals, right? Miss our festivals. Well, so my friends called me up the other day and said, hey, got a fantastic artist we want to introduce you to. And I was like, cool, let's bring her through, and she's going to be doing a show at the legendary Catalina Bar and Grill later on this week. And I thought, what a perfect person to have on to have this conversation about jazz as art, right? So she's saying Southside Folk Tales, and I'm interested to find out what that's all about. So without further ado, here she is, ladies and gentlemen. Sipping coffee with us is Tammi McCann. There she is.
Hello. Oh,
Good
Greg, thank you
morning.
so much for having me, brother. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you being here. This is really, really awesome. So, Tammi, I mean, man, I just need to know a little bit more about you because I didn't know. Let's start here, Tammi. Let's start here. First of all, you could tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, and how long you've been in this here music game. And but I'm really interested to know Southside Folk Tales. What does that mean?
Well, let's start with that I am from Chicago, the south side of Chicago, as a matter of fact, and by way of Starkville, Mississippi. So very, very south, very south. And that's really where Southside Folk Tales for me begins. That music that was poured into me from a little girl, and that music that came up from the Great Migration,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And came up to Chicago. And Chicago jazz is a particular kind of sound. Anybody that you talk to will tell you, there's a sound that comes out of Chicago that's like nothing else. So
mhm,
that music that came up from the Great Migration was bathed in this marinade, a marinade of blues and gospel and R&B. And so that is the sound that resonated with me as a young woman, as I learned from different mentors here in Chicago.
mhm,
And they just gifted me this music. That's where the folk tales come from,
mhm,
because each generation gifts us these songs. These songs are, some of them, over 100 years old. And
mhm.
each generation gifts one to us. And then we take it and shape it and mold it. And so I'm hoping to shape and mold some songs that influenced me through this record.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Wow, incredible, incredible. Isn't it interesting how your various cities across the United States, as a result of the Great Migration, has its own signature sound? You saying that
Hmm.
about Chicago and jazz. We know that
Yes.
about the blues and Kansas City, St. Louis,
Hmm.
even LA has its own, little vibration, and
Yes.
all coming from. So now, who is your biggest influence in your music?
My biggest influence in jazz, is that what you said?
Yes,
Oh,
okay,
my
in music, but, yeah, in music, in which I guess includes jazz.
well, actually, in music, I
Mhm.
consider myself kind of a musical gypsy.
Wow.
I grew up, of course, in the foundation of the church,
Mhm, mhm,
and St. Paul Church of God in Christ, Kojic.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
And so that was the beginning. That's the foundation of everything that is my musical world is built on. And from that, it was classical music,
mhm,
and then from that was jazz. And so in my classical was Leontine Price.
mhm,
In my gospel was Mahalia Jackson. I'm sorry. And then in my jazz, I graduated from the University of Vaughn and George Freeman here in
mhm,
Chicago,
mhm,
NEA
mhm,
Jazz
mhm.
Master Von Freeman.
Wow.
And so through all of these different fusions of music, they all come together to create something that's really special for me. And every time that I sing, some of that comes through, some of that
Mhm,
shines through.
mhm, mhm. It's interesting you mentioned Kojic. I mean, I know a little bit about Kojic. Well, actually, I know a lot.
Mhm.
So is that St. Paul Church of God in Christ in
Yes,
Detroit?
sir.
Okay.
No, Chicago, Bishop Lewis
Oh,
Henry
it's
Ford.
Oh,
Hmm.
oh, yes, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That is where they, had the Emmett Till funeral then.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bishop L.H. Ford there presided
Mhm.
over Emmett Till's funeral. Oh,
Mm.
wow, isn't that something?
History.
It
History.
Yes, yes.
Chicago is really the originating space for
Mhm,
so much music. I'm
mhm.
curator at large for American music for DuSable Museum of African American History. And
Oh,
one of
nice.
the things that I love to just talk about is how Chicago is a foundational space for gospel, for jazz, for blues,
Right,
for hip hop, for
right.
so many origins of music. And so we're really blessed to have so much history welling up right around us.
Mhm, mhm. That's very, very interesting. Alright, so you have Southside Folk Tales. Now, is that an LP, or is that just the name of your presentation, or break it down for us?
Southside Folk Tales is an idea that has been ruminating inside me for a long time.
Mhm,
As I said, I was I graduated from the University of Von Freeman, and
mhm,
Von and George Freeman gifted me so much with this music, and I've had the opportunity in different records to explore the saxophone
mhm.
influence and also to explore the guitar influence with a record that I did with Henry Johnson as
Wow.
my producer. And so now, during the pandemic, a lot was taken away from musicians. And but for as much as was taken away, For as much as was taken away, I feel for myself, so much was given.
Mhm.
I was able to really go deep and to explore a lot of the music that made me, that music that runs through my veins like that red clay of Mississippi. And so I
Mhm.
wanted to explore that music more, right? And so I was connected with this amazing guitarist by the name of Fareed Haq.
Mhm.
And Fareed is also a Chicagoan. And I heard this man play. And Fareed can go from classical Spanish guitar to the crossroads in like 10 minutes.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely phenomenal. And his understanding of the culture of this music really kind of made us, I'd say, musical kindred spirits. And we were able to start to musical sentences. And so when I said to him, I have this idea, and
Mhm.
I'm wondering if you'd like to go on this exploration with me,
Mhm.
where we take this music and we take songs, maybe some songs that are off the beaten path, maybe some songs that are originals, songs that have had influences over me. And he's going to produce them and shape them and arrange them in a way that really supports my voice and supports my vision of where I want to take this music. I think this is going to be one of the most personal records I've ever done.
Mm, mhm, mhm. That's really awesome. I really am already, struck by your depth of musicality, if you will. And I want to circle back to your post as the curator at large, I think you said,
Mm,
at the DuSable Museum. And
yeah.
I'm interested in that just because I am the vice president and president elect of the Arts Council for Long Beach. And
Oh,
so
wonderful.
the whole, institution of of preserving art for every aspect of art. I mean, I'm going to the symphony, I'm going to the
Yes.
opera, I'm going to the
Mhm.
camerata singers. It's really, 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 really cool. And so, when you're curating for an arts institution, I mean, especially one that's so legendary like the DuSable Museum, what do you look for that needs to be preserved in the annals of that legendary institution?
I'm so glad you asked that. I think that it has to start with Margaret Burroughs and
Mhm.
her mission vision, which was to instill in the world that music, the creative energy, the art, the image of the African American
Mhm.
was something to be celebrated and lauded all over the world, right? That was her vision. And so we, our generation, yours and mine, take up that charge
Mhm.
that all that our ancestors bled and died for and sacrificed to hold and lift us up, to hold and lift up our image. It's our job to continue that along the path. So
Mhm.
for me, as one that is dealing with a specialty in music, and that's music of the African diaspora.
Mhm.
So jazz, blues, gospel, R&B, rock and roll, house, hip hop. We created all of it.
Mhm.
Punk rock. Do you study? All of it belongs to
Mhm.
us.
Mhm.
And so to have that be enlivened and supported is my goal, right?
Mhm.
So first you got to start with the story. Perfect example. I'm working on an exhibit now around Jubilee Showcase
Oh.
and this gentleman by the name of Sid Ordauer. So Jubilee Showcase is a gospel show that was originated in Chicago and on Channel 7, as a matter of fact. And here's this gentleman, a Jewish man, just fell in love with this music. The first time Albertina Walker was ever seen on television was at Jubilee Showcase. So right
Mhm.
now we're crafting. It was supposed to be 2020, but the corona.
Yeah.
So we're hoping for 2022. And so we'll have this exploration of how he came to this idea. We had the Soul Stirrers. We had the Mighty Clouds of Joy. We
Mhm.
had, we had all of these amazing artists. We had the staple singers, all focused on this show. And this show originated in Chicago. And so all of these musicians were able to take this platform and blossom their careers. And why this man who donated to Martin Luther King's all of his campaigns, organized transportation for him, had an FBI file for all of the work that he was doing with social justice and civil rights. We have to bring together and talk about what connects us, what binds us together. The powers that be want us to focus on what separates us, but what better way than music to enliven that foundation of what connects us?
So interesting. So much goes through my mind. I was listening to you talk. I mean, shoot, for me, shoot, Milton Brunson and the Thompson Community Singers. That's
Yes,
Chicago,
yes,
right?
yes.
Oh, man, I listen to them almost every time I'm out there on my run. I run, and so that's part of my soundtrack. Let's see, who
Oh,
else? Chicago,
wow.
Chicago Bass Choir. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Hey,
wow.
come on,
You
Chi-Town,
crazy.
come through. That's good stuff. It's interesting you talk about music and social justice because, last year when we were experiencing so much strife in the streets, ignited by the murder of George Floyd, but, certainly
Mm,
that was the straw that broke the camel's back because we were seeing
mm,
a lot of stuff happen, time and time again, where we were all just saying, man, they are really literally trying to kill us out here. One
mm,
thing that struck me was initially I see it more now, but at first I didn't see any modern songs of social justice. Now,
mm.
and so I'm a child of the civil rights movement, and I know the music was the soundtrack to what we were marching for, out there in these here streets. And so, do you think that how do you gauge today's generation
Mm.
in how do they express their social justice messaging in their music?
I think that it's twofold.
Mm,
So, number one, I think that oftentimes our generation is not exposed to the music that they're making, right?
mhm, mhm,
Because it's being played on platforms that we might not um, regularly engage with,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
it's a lot of digital downloads while we're listening to radio or we're listening to CD or Sirius XM or whatever. Their music is being played in digital spaces where we're not really connected to. So
Sure.
yes, the babies are making this music. They are telling the stories. They
Mm,
absolutely are.
mm.
Um, and as a matter of fact, I happen to be in the process of doing a record with Rhymefest.
Wow.
He and I were given the most amazing gift, and I'd have to say it was a gift,
Mm,
through an NGO by the name of the Abolition Institute.
mm,
They shine a light on chattel slavery throughout the world. So, what I mean when I say chattel slavery, I mean that here in 2021, there's a person that owns you,
mm.
owns your child, and will own your child's child right now today
Wow.
in the country of Mauritania.
Mhm, mhm,
And we were asked to go with a group of dignitaries as a cultural attaché, if you will. And we were supposed to do a performance and meet with and explore the experiences of the former slaves and meet and engage with these people and talk about the music of the air of what was going on in the
mm,
country.
mm,
And so as he and I were talking about different songs and what we were going to do, we started to connect around different lyrics and different soundscapes, and it became a project. And so next thing you know, I'm in the studio.
mm,
And next thing you know, we're writing lyrics together. And
mm,
so next thing you know, we are sending this music to Mauritania for the Mauritanian artists to inform and place their energy on it. So this record is in the process of being created and mixed right now. I believe it's going to be called Black Sun. And that song I wrote based on the story of the young man in, I believe it was Denver, Colorado,
Mhm.
young man who was a violinist. And he reminded me, I have 4 sons. And he reminded me, and I have sons in different age groups,
Mhm.
from 16 to 28. And I heard his voice in the sounds of the video beating because I couldn't watch it. But in that sound, I heard my baby's voice.
Mhm.
And I heard this nerdy, intelligent, violin playing kid saying, ouch, ooh, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, but the person that was abusing him didn't hear that. He didn't
Mhm.
hear that delicate voice. He saw fear, he heard rage, he heard. And so that to me made me say, what does it take for these people to see these Black bodies as through a mother's eyes?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I named it Black Sun,
Mhm.
but it was Black SUN, right?
Mhm.
Because the sun gives us things, right? It gives us things. It gives us warmth. It gives us direction. And so the music is coming. The music is coming. The music is there. We have to just listen out for it.
Mhm. 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 Interesting. I'm really happy to hear you building that bridge, being a part of building that bridge of music, arts, and culture with Mother Africa. And here, I mean, that's a mantra of what how we even exist over here at Dream Creator Studio. Uh, Coffee Conversations, Afro Pop Radio, all of our little platforms. At
Yeah.
the center of that is building a bridge of music, arts, and culture with Mother Africa. And you already mentioned many, many art forms of our music that are African in origin. Do you know that the musicians in the country of Mali said, I saw a documentary where the brother was playing, I can't remember the name of the instrument, but it looks like a little banjo, and he said, African Americans think they invented the blues, but no, it is coming from Mali. And he plays a riff on there, and you're like, holy crap, yeah, he's right.
That's right. That's right. So much of it's just lost. It's
Yeah,
just no, that's not true. It's not lost. It's hidden.
it's hidden. Mhm,
It's
mhm.
not lost. It's hidden. And
Because
so
I think when
as
it
people
came,
like you put out there, then it becomes uncovered.
that's right, and it's so much survived the Middle Passage,
Mm,
and it's a spiritual situation. The story I like to tell all the time is one time I was in Southern Africa and I rented a car and I was driving around, right? And so I hired a driver so I wouldn't get lost, but I did all the driving. I'm deep in Africa, and we came to this roadside market, and the sister was sitting there and she had a burlap bag and there were greens. So I started talking to her about greens, and she's like, oh, you have greens in America? I said, oh yeah, and I start telling her how we, when we eat them, how we cook them, and all that. And it was so similar. We were both sitting there amazed at how the essence of the collard green and how we prepare it, the whole thing had survived the Middle Passage all the way to our plates here in America. And I suppose it's the same kind of correlation with music.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely, it is. As a matter of fact, I was just doing a concert, just did a concert last night with my wonderful band who's going to be going in the studio with me to lay the music for Southside Folk Tales. And we're talking about time
Mm.
and how so they were doing different dances, while we were there. And so I'm asking, could you share with me how to do the dances? And so I'm here, but with
Mhm.
them, it's more of a pulse. So it's not this, it's this, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
so this whole, and it just really just opened up a whole new layer of musicality for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that's something, there's so much that's lost,
Mhm,
so
mhm,
much that's lost. And the experience of this trip, I will reverberate in my life
mhm,
forever. And
mhm.
I think I'll still be trying to unpack layers from this experience.
Well, you're getting all the right ingredients. We were at a talk with the famous Bootsy Collins, and the
Oh,
question was
wow.
asked, what was his influence? And he said, oh, the church. And then he said, and then Afrobeat, and
Hmm.
so those were
Hmm.
the two ingredients in his music, and Church of God in Christ, the funk is in there now.
It's so interesting when we talk about. I do this tribute to Mahalia Jackson, and it's called
Mhm,
Yes, Mahalia.
mhm,
But as a jazz singer, I really had this idea to bring together that unique, full voice of Mahalia with the sonic energy of a big band. And
mm,
so I got invited to go to Jerusalem to do a tribute to Mahalia. And I said to the producer, this is an idea that I have. And he said, I have just the person. It's a young man that's a big band director in New York City who happens to be of Israeli descent. And so we had a conversation, and I said, so what do you know about gospel? And he was like, I don't know anything about gospel. And so I said, okay. And so I said, well, I tell you what, whoever invented that YouTube, they need the Nobel Peace Prize. Because I went on that YouTube and I gave him from the field hollers of slavery all the way up to Kurt Franklin and everything in between, the soul stories, Albertina Walker, da da da. And so it was Gospel 101. And this young man crawled into this music. And we just recently did a concert up in Harlem
mhm.
at Marcus Garvey Park, as a matter of fact, where they held that
Summer
summer.
Soul, yeah.
Yes, the same exact place, and that's where we
Wow.
did our Yes Mahalia concert. And so it was like the ancestors just filled us with energy. And when I tell you that young man and that crowd just really saw how he loved on that music and crawled into the culture to make it breathe and live, because Mahalia did not deal with the secular. It was only the sacred.
That's
So
right.
even bringing her into that jazz realm was, it was something I had to go gently into that good night,
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
because
mhm.
you have to give deference to Mama Mahalia.
Yes.
But it's just fascinating. And so that gospel foundation is always going to be with me, and it's steadfast in everything that I do.
All right, I got to ask you the question that I always ask my friends here. All right,
Okay.
so there you are in the praise break inside the Kojic. It is going crazy, and the instruments is going and going and going.
Okay.
You hear a riff in there from the funk songs to the musicians. You ever heard that?
Oh my goodness. Dun,
Like,
dun, dun,
did
dun,
they
dun,
just
dun.
play? Did
All I
they
hear is
just
the bass.
play just knee deep?
You are terrible. You are not gonna get me called. My mother can call me right now and say, "What are you talking about on that doggone?"
Oh.
And I would say, "No, ma'am, I was not talking about Bootsy Collins on the Facebook, Mama. I was not doing
See.
that. You're not gonna get me in trouble."
Hilarious, hilarious. All right, so
You,
now you coming to LA for the Catalina Bar and Grill, Catalina Jazz Bar and Grill. That's a famous
yeah,
place. Have you ever been there before?
I have, and I want
Okay.
to thank Manny and all the folks that he has been such a wonderful supporter of mine.
Mhm.
Nobody, I say this, but I mean, the world does not know who little Tammi McCann is, but Manny gave me a shot, and he would let me come and he would let me sing. And I'm so blessed to have such wonderful supporters out there in Los Angeles. I got Mr. John Clayton on
Wow.
bass. I got Tamir Hendelman on piano. I got Clayton Cameron on drums. And of course, I'm bringing my brother from Chicago, Mr. Fareed Haq. And we are just going to have such a good time. We're going to have such a good time. And I'm so grateful to Catalina's. We're going to be hitting at 8:30,
Mhm.
and we got one show, and we're just going to burn it to the ground and have a good time.
Oh, that's what's up. Now, what day is that? Let me see.
That is Friday the 13th. This Friday.
I'm gonna put this in the chat, y'all. Hold on. If you're looking for something to do at the Catalina Bar and Grill, that's up there in Hollywood. Friday, August 13th. At what time?
8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m. Come on, let's go. Let's get there. Let's get there. Make it happen. Support our sister. I'm really enjoying this. I might have to come through and
Oh,
see. That'll be
so
good.
and
Okay.
bring your closest friend.
All right. That's right. Let's see. All right. There it is. You guys, it's in the chat. All right. So, Tammy, I want to play something here. I think I found something on YouTube that I can play here.
Okay.
Because I want to. So this one's from 2017 with Mike Alamana and you, right?
What is this?
You remember this one? Was this you? It's live at Studio 5? Well, let's see. It says you. I don't know. Let's see. Hold on one moment. Let me get here. Hold on one sec. Got a little technology here. Hold on.
No worries. Is this every time we say goodbye?
It's a I think this is the whole performance. I think this is you. Let me see. Hold on. Let me play this before I put it up. Yeah, that's you. Get your straight hair on.
What with me and Mike Alamana?
Yeah. That looks like you. Let's see if I'll pick you out in the lineup. Hold on. It's on YouTube live.
You know, there's one of me and Fareed Haq.
Okay, let's do that one.
Let's do that one.
Mm-hmm.
Tammi McCann and Fareed Haq, and a tribute to Johnny, and a tribute to Johnny Mandel.
Tribute to Johnny Mandel.
Yes. Unless it's you.
Okay, let me see here. Let me say it like this. I'm searching. Hold on one second here.
I'm sorry.
Unless it's you. Oh, yeah, that's you.
That's it.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Let's go. Okay. Okay. All right, let's do it, y'all. Enjoy the music of Tammi McCann. There we go. All right. I wonder why I've loved so few. I guess I'm shy. I'm just like you. And so I try to turn away. Though you're the sky to me, the joy to me, the day. Sometimes I stray and think I'm free. Then in your way, you reach for me. I know I'll stay. I always do. For what is love to me, unless it's you?
wonder why I've loved so few. I guess I'm shy. I'm just like you. And so I try to turn away. Though you're the sky to me, the joy to me, the day. At times I stray and think I'm free. Then in your way, you reach for me. I know I'll stay. I always do. For what is love to me? Unless it's you.
Wow, wow, whoa. Okay, I knew I was gonna come to this question here. I would love to hear you sing My Funny Valentine.
You know, you, so you are
Oh,
not
that,
going to believe this. So I just did a
mhm.
concert last night in
Yeah.
Chicago, and this gentleman walked up to me, and he's known me since I was a baby in this music. And he said, "Oh, I haven't seen you in such a long time." And I mean, we're talking about 20 years.
Mm.
And he said, "You know, my favorite song that you do." And I was like, "What song is that?" And he said, "My Funny Valentine." And I
Ah,
but I have a funny story because that was the first song I ever learned as a jazz singer. And I was a classical singer. I mean, like classical. I didn't know anything about jazz. I didn't know who Ella was. I didn't know who Dinah was. I didn't
mm,
know who Duke Ellington was. Any of it. My parents were not jazz people.
mm,
And so I went and did this gig with Von Freeman. And, I was sitting in. I was not doing a gig. I was sitting in. And I was like, "My funny Valentine." And everybody was like, "What is she doing? That's not jazz. What is that?"
mm.
So yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. I've been doing that
Hilarious.
song the longest. So when do you want me to sing it? When you come to the show on Friday night? Or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do it.
you got it. You
Okay.
got it. That'll be your request on Friday night. I'll sing it.
Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I appreciate that. Wow. So you're a contralto,
A mezzo soprano.
mezzo soprano. Okay. All
Yes.
right. All right. All right, my good friend over there at the Long Beach Symphony. You know, Kelly Lucera is the executive director of the Long Beach Symphony, right? And good lady, good lady. I hope she's watching this here. She's very much a classical pianist, and we were working on this project where the request was that she sang "It's a Wonderful World," and
Mm.
her whole thing was that she didn't know how to scat or didn't have any, flow to her style. I was like, no, it's in there somewhere. Come on, just let it go, let it go. And she really did an awesome, awesome, awesome job. But that's what she said. She was a mezzo soprano, and she just sang straight, classical, stuff. But she really did an awesome
Uh-huh.
job. She had some soul in there. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
good, good,
I'm
good.
sorry, you broke up a little bit, so I didn't hear what came before that.
Oh, okay. Just talking about Kelly Lucera as the director of the Long Beach Symphony, being a mezzo
Oh,
soprano, and being
oh,
able to we were doing the you're a one it's a wonderful world. We were actually
oh,
videotaping it, a virtual
oh.
performance, and so she needed to get out of her comfort zone from classical music.
It is.
Yes.
It's a completely different headspace.
Hmm.
With classical music, So as I am artist in residence for the Music Institute of Chicago, which is a classical music school here in
Mhm.
Evanston, Illinois. And so I have been artist in residence for several years. And one of the things that the executive director wanted to do was to bring in somebody who had one foot in classical and one foot in jazz, and who could really talk about the synergy between the two.
Mhm.
I call them musical faiths,
Mhm.
right? And so one of the things that uh, is really interesting about the music. So, as a classical musician, your job is to master the masters. You know,
Mhm.
Strauss, Beethoven, and then once you've mastered the masters, you're allowed a career where you go on to play the masters' works. Right. Well, in jazz, we ask that you master the masters, the Ellas and the Charlie Parkers. But in jazz, once you master the masters, then the powers that be invite you to share your own musical ideas. Well, now been given the space to share how you view the music. What would be something you would add to the genre, right?
Mhm.
Your songs, your ideas, your different presentations. But the headspace and the physiology of it as a as a musician, as a vocalist, or as an instrumentalist, it is a completely different. It's a reimagining of not just your mind but your physiology
Yeah,
in the present.
that's an interesting conversation to have too. I mentioned to you that I was on the board of the Arts Council for Long Beach out here, and I was having a conversation with. I've had a couple of this very same conversation. One with the professor of arts, my good friend Dr. Brian Trimble, and then
Mhm.
the Grammy Award winning choral director, Dr. James Bass, head of the Long
Mm.
Beach Camerata Singers. And so I was saying, so what do you mean by classical music? So you're gonna tell me so Bach and Beethoven are classical composers, right? They're like, right? I said, okay, and Stevie Wonder is it? And they were like, wow, I never heard it put that way before. It's very interesting. So
Well, Bach was improvising as well. So
mhm, mhm, mhm. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, so Tammy, thank you so much for coming on. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. I've kept you for I could go on and on now.
oh
I
my
know you got
God.
a hectic schedule today. Got to get on a plane
Oh,
to get out here.
yes, I want to
Mhm.
thank you so much for having me. This was such a gift, and thank you so much for your support. You know, we've been through a lot as a musical community, and the
Mhm.
only way to come out of this is to continue to support each other. So I thank you so much, and God bless you for your support.
God bless you too. And I mean, let's just keep in touch. We got some things to do,
I got your
and
song. I got your song. I'll see you Friday night.
all right, you got a deal. You got a deal. Well, there it is, y'all. Look, Tammy McCann, oh, wait, before we go, okay, so how many times have you been the Chicago Jazz Vocalist of the Year? Like four, five, six times?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
The How many times have you been selected as the Jazz Vocalist of the Year in Chicago?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I think maybe 2 or 3 years. The one thing that really surprised me was to be named Person of the Year in Jazz for 2020, when essentially the world was silent of music. And
Wow.
so when that they felt that I had really contributed to try to keep the music alive, I created this thing called the Cabin Fever Jazz Series at DuSable. Because we just missed each other. We
Mhm.
missed seeing each other's faces. We missed hearing the music, and, created an outdoor social distance environment to hear the music in safety, and support these musicians that have been struggling for
Mhm.
so long. We lost a lot of musicians. We
Mhm.
lost a lot of musicians this year because
Mhm.
this is not this path is not for the faint of heart,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And you have to really love it. You have to really serve the music. And I just wanted to create a space where the music could give us a foundation of healing, and the musicians can be celebrated. And getting that honor is one of the things that means the most to me, to be recognized by the city that I love and that has just given me absolutely everything. I'm just so
Wow.
grateful.
Wow, that's incredible. Incredible. Congratulations on that. And
Mhm.
I can already feel your spirit. I know that you are all about giving back to the community, and that's ministry in and of itself, right? So,
Oh, thank
keep
you.
keep striving, and we're going to see you on Friday night, and continue to keep the links. Look, Allison and Thornell, those are my folks right there. They
Those are
they
my folks. That's Team Tammy. That is Team Tammy. Yes, it is.
Good. I want to thank them for all the time for the Thornell. I mean, as long as I have known them, we always have come up with some good collaborations together. This is really, really exciting and really an honor to meet you. And can't wait to see you on Friday night.
Yes, sir.
One last thing, where can we connect with you? Where can the people connect with you? I'm gonna put that in the chat. You could website
You
and all
can
that.
connect with me at TammyMcCann.com,
Tammy
my
McCann.
website. Tammy McCann Jazz on Instagram.
Mhm.
Tammy McCann Jazz. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Tammy McCann Jazz on Instagram, and Tammy McCann Jazz on Twitter. And on Facebook, it's Tammy McCann. And just thank you guys so much. Come listen to some good music. We're going to have a good time.
All right, there you have it, you guys. If you missed this broadcast, certainly you can get it on demand right here on the Facebook page. That's Coffee Conversations with Greg J. You can get it on demand at beachcityradio.com, beachcityradio.com. And if you're just moving about and you just want to hear the audio, don't worry about it. We got you covered wherever you are listening to your favorite podcast. You can download it, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. I'm talking Apple, iHeart, Spreaker, Stitcher,
Wow.
Google, wherever. Just say, hey, I want to hear Coffee Conversations with Greg J. You'll see it. There's a array of coffee beans shaped like Africa on there, and that'll be us. And check us all out. Thank you so much for listening. It's been really, really awesome. Look, this brother here, I'm gonna put his comment before you go. That's my friend Dr. Dumisani Goba. He's out there in KwaZulu Natal, South Africa. That's where
Oh my
he's at. Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, that's my good friend there. He does a fantastic award show out there. He has actually brought me and Thornell out to Africa to witness his award show a couple of
Wow.
times.
So I'm
Yes.
coming next. I'm
Yes.
coming next.
He's a good brother. All right, y'all. There you have it. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Remember, love one another.
Thanks,
Love
Greg.
one another. Love one another. Peace and blessings.
Thanks, Greg.